Good morning, good evening. Hope your day's going well, whatever time of day it is. Welcome back to another video. Today I'll be drawing Holiday Barbie, but with a twist. I'll be redesigning her outfit so she's wearing proper winter clothes. Now, I don't know if it's just me because I'm Canadian or what, but it gives me anxiety to see her wear so little clothes in the winter, and I feel like there's so many fashionable outfits you could come up with to wear during the winter that aren't just, I don't know, a sheer blouse. If you can hear the hammering in the background, by the way, sorry about that. That's my neighbor. He's doing home renovations. Anyway, back to the video. I started off by drawing Holiday Barbie from this year as she was originally, so with the original dress and the design. And she's wearing like this sheer little, oops, I hit my mic. She's wearing a sheer little cape and then this caramel yellow dress with sparkles on it, and then it actually has a sheer layer over the skirt as well. So here I am sketching in the color of the darker dress underneath the sheer layer. I feel like this is a very classic Barbie dress design. I used to play with Barbies as a kid so much, and I remember some of them came with clothes. I mean, well, they all came with clothes, but then I used to make them clothes as well, and this was like a popular dress style with a sheer layer over an opaque layer, if that makes sense. Wow, my mic is picking up the hammering so well. I hope you like hammering ASMR. That's what we're experiencing here today. So after I drew the original Barbie, I started on the right side of the page making my own new version of the winter clothes. And as you can see, I gave her a little hat, I gave her a little scarf, but then I didn't like the scarf, so I got rid of the scarf, and I went back to a cape. For the under layer, like her actual dress, the first thing I tried was a kind of button-up jumpsuit dress situation. Well, no, I guess it's just a dress then, or a coat that's like one piece. It's kind of like a 60s style situation, and she has her little cape on top. And I tried to just sketch out her hands underneath to see how the cape would fall. But ultimately it just kind of looked best when it was sticking up to the sides. It's like more balanced for some reason. So I just kept it like that. I then gave her little gloves, or mittens rather. So I made them, I sketched them in same color as her hat and then her belt. And then I moved on to the legs. So if her dress was a coat, I think it would work if she was wearing pants. But because it looked so much like a dress, and Holiday Barbie does wear a dress in the original and every year, so I thought tights. She'd be wearing tights and then little boots. Now the boots is somewhere I struggled a lot. I don't know why. It's true I haven't drawn in a while, but I've never done shoes this badly, I don't think, in my life. And then I tried to do sparkles on her tights, and that looked terrible, so I erased it, obviously. And then I put the sparkles on the hem of her dress, and that looked way better. But then for some reason I wasn't feeling the whole outfit anymore. I thought it looked kind of I just threw together different elements that didn't go together that well. So instead I looked up historical winter clothing, and I found a dress that I really like the look of. I'll put up a picture. And then I tried to emulate the look of that instead. I also, to go with the historical clothing now, instead of gloves, I gave her a little hand muff. Is that what those are called, that you put both hands in? It's made of fur. So she has that. And then I sketched out the dress again and made it floor length this time to match the photo I was going off of. And also I made folds differently because it's a much heavier fabric, so it hangs differently. And now that she was wearing this whole historical getup, I had to redo her hair and take off the hat because it wasn't matching. And then I even tried to do one of those capes that has arm slits in it. I don't know what they're called, but I can put up a picture of what they look like. It's kind of counterintuitive. I don't know if that's actually an effective cape design. Maybe someone can tell me if you've ever worn one. But I ended up putting the cape back to how it was originally, and then I had finished my sketch. So I moved on to sketching onto not cardstock paper, watercolor paper. because I wanted to do a more refined colored version of the sketch and of the make a drawing out of it. As you'll see very soon in the video, things didn't exactly go to plan. Well, they didn't go to plan at all, but I made it work in the end, and I figured it out. And here I am, just sketching in the cape and the dress and the muff, and then doing the swirly button bits on the side all the way down. Looking back, I kind of wish I'd picked a more interesting pose, because this one's kind of bland. She's just standing straight ahead. Well, I guess it could be kind of like a fashion magazine, but I did hide the hands, which, I don't know, to me it makes it look amateur, because when people hide hands, typically it's because they can't draw them. I promise I can draw hands. Take my word for it. You won't see, but take my word for it. And I moved on to doing the face with the eyebrows and the eyes, and I discovered exactly how hard it is to draw details when there's a camera where my face usually is. So I had to kind of guesstimate how to draw it from like a distance. And then I went in and I used an eraser to get rid of most of the pencil, so that when I added color on top, graphite didn't show through and the pencil didn't smudge or bleed. And I used this yellow colored pencil to go around the whole thing. In retrospect, bad idea. I don't know why I did it. I thought maybe, ooh, it'll keep in the watercolor pencil or something, but that's not what happened. Anyway, I took this kind of creamy yellow caramel colored pencil and I colored in all the parts of the dress that were going to be this solid brownish color. And I went in like little hatches. This is actually really satisfying to watch sped up. So yeah, I kept doing my little hatches, and then I even took different colors of colored pencils, as you'll see, and tried to do a little shading on there so that when I blended it out, it would hopefully like create a sense of dimension and space. Again, did not work as planned, but you'll see, it works out in the end. I did the same thing for the hair, a little shadow using the same color for the dress, just to add a little cohesiveness so the color appears like more than once in the image. And then I started to add water to the watercolor pencil, which is when I discovered that my plan had not really worked. Watercolor pencil, I usually use it for smaller projects and I shade in differently so that it like blends smoothly, and this, because it was hatched, because it was such a large area, I didn't want to spend time just doing little circles with my pencil, but the hatches didn't work perfectly for this, for what I intended. But I'd already committed, so I had to just keep going and keep adding water, even though it didn't look anything like what it was supposed to, like a smooth color application. Separate topic, I do usually when I use watercolors, like out of the pan or whatever, I try to make them as flat as possible, which I'm aware it's not the intent of watercolor to be used that way. And so a couple like months ago I tried to use gouache, and because I was like, ooh, I'm not supposed to do flat color with watercolor, and that's what gouache is for, so I'll just do it with gouache. But I didn't, like, gouache didn't work out for me either. So I just decided to stick to watercolor, and this is kind of what I was going for, to do a flat layer. And clearly it's not working. Here I am trying to add even more watercolor pencil to hopefully blend it out, just add more pigment on there to see if it'll work this time. And spoiler alert, it did not. It still didn't work. But you know, desperate times, desperate measures, and I did my best to give watercolor pencils their fair try to cover this whole area, and I did again and again. I did a couple applications, and you'll see after I do the liner, I'll do a layer of gouache on top actually, just to even it out, and that pretty much solved the issue. But for now, here I am trying to fix it with watercolor pencils. And at this point, I knew I was going to try to fix it with gouache, but I still knew I had to let it dry a little, because it doesn't work well if I try to add more color and like fix it while it's wet from the first thing I used, which in this case was the water with the pencils. So I moved on to doing the liner on the face, and I used a really thin fineliner for the face and the hair and the upper body and the little fine details, and then I moved on to a thicker fineliner for the skirt at the bottom. I had to be really careful not to dip my hand into the paint because it was still wet and I didn't want to smudge it all over the place. But yeah, you can see as it's drying quite splotchy. because there's not an equal amount of watercolor pencil on everything, so it just, it didn't work. And then I did the liner on the hair. I just did a couple swirls on the inside, and I think that looks pretty cute. I like the way when I draw like hair and I can just do a couple little strands here and there, and I think it looks really cute. And then I moved on to lining the muff, and after that it was finally time to break out the gouache. I mixed a color to match what I had done with the watercolor pencils as closely as possible, which was this deep orangey yellow, and it happens to be my favorite color. So I colored the whole dress with the gouache, and it made such a difference. You could see it like even better on camera with how contrasty the dress was originally, and then how the gouache on top just like smooths it out. At this point I abandoned pretty much any hope I had of making the dress or adding shadows to the dress or details in different colors. I just thought, you know what, I just want to finish this drawing. I just want to finish it, get it over with, and then I'll get to work on something else and do better next time. So that's what I did. I just decided to go for a flat color on the whole thing, and I figured, you know what, the highlighter, the fineliner is going to just do its job and make up for the lack of shadows if I just add fineliner to the folds of the dress. I also put some gouache on top of the bodice, just not to leave it out, and then I mixed a lighter yellow for the hair, because this is one thing you could tell in real life, but not, I think on camera it's not that bad, but her hair was also the same kind of, it also mixed it with the graphite, and anyway, it was just a really dirty color originally, so when I added gouache, it cleaned it up quite nicely. So yeah, here I am fine lining the dress after the gouache dried, and you can see I did the buttons already, but my camera died, so it didn't capture that part. And also the lighting changed because it's winter and the sun sets at 4 p.m, so I had to set up some new lighting. And here's the finished picture. Here it is from a different angle, and I hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time.